WLEA, AM 1480 and FM 106.9.
And good Saturday morning, everyone. Welcome to the Prete Is On. This is your host, Dave Prete. Another big weekend here in NFL action. We'll talk some NFL about halfway through the show. Of course, the Buffalo Bills, winners last week, moving on, hosting another playoff game this weekend. And I will be joined with a couple of local football gurus halfway through the show to do our NFL picks. In studio right now, though, I have the Canisteo Greenwood Redskins varsity football coach, Steve Donlin, who is joining us here on Saturday morning. Steve, welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always great to have you on. I know, when I had you on before, we were talking about having some football, talking some football in the fall. Well, of course, things changed, plans changed with your season. Football didn't end up being played in the fall for obvious reasons with COVID. Season has been pushed to starts in March, right?
March is the first. March 1st is the first practice.
Okay.
And then in 2 weeks is your first game.
Awesome. So it's coming right up on us quick.
Sure is.
So it's giving you some extra time to prepare, get ready for the season. How's it looking? How does the squad look? What are your expectations? And talk to me a little bit first before we get into more of the nitty gritty. This is your first season as Canisteo Greenwood head coach. So what's your expectations for the boys?
Our expectations are high. We have a good number of seniors. The participation in the weight room from those seniors, they've lifted together and stayed together for a long time. So we look to have a lot of success. This year's been obviously different, but one of the things we've committed to since July is to continue to meet every week, which we have, except for right before Christmas. We took a couple of weeks off because obviously the numbers got pretty high. So we're back at it. We've been back at it here in January. We lift 3 times a week, and then we do plays. So on Saturdays we do our plays. So today at 11, we'll be down at the field with the JV and varsity program. So our whole goal is to stay together because we know how little time we're going to have to prepare when practices start. So we just want to have as much done and be as sound as we can with just ourselves before we focus on opponents.
Who are some of the key players to look for? I know you have, some that are in their senior season, so this will be their final year playing. Who are some of the key players? And tell me also your coaching staff. Who do you have on your coaching staff?
Also, I'll do your first question first. So the players that we have right now that a lot of folks probably are familiar with. Rocky Santiago is our quarterback. He's been doing that since he was a sophomore down in Canisteo. So he's just a fantastic leader, number one. I mean, he's in the weight room all the time. Utica's looking at him. Alfred's looking at him. I don't know which one he's exactly going to right now, but he's just a fantastic kid. Nate Button is one of our leaders on the line with Caleb Kitka. Jeepers, we got our line, Jacob Mullins, another senior. Our line's fantastic. I know Nate is looking at Utica right now, and people are looking at him. Andrew Morling's our wide receiver out there. He's, again, Alfred University. He's looking to go to AU and keep that going. Real tall, lengthy receiver. So, the strength of our line's really, really good. Chase Weeks is our running back, and he's fantastic. And John Cox is our fullback. So, I mean, those are seniors in all those key spots, and we have some good juniors who are filling in other places too. So, so we got great players, and I'm very, very proud of all of them, and I'm really proud of my coaching staff. I've been able to work with really talented people. For a Class D football program, we probably have one of the best staffs you could possibly have. Chris Kohler has a dear friend of mine, and we coached together in Hornell, and he's taken over the offensive coordinating position and doing just fantastic job. And we got John Amadon who's doing our line with us. we got James Deneen, who I brought down from Hornell, who's our wide receivers coach. Mickey Coretto does our linebackers for us. Chris Cox is our JV head coach, who's a great JV head coach. Matt Canale is our modified head coach, who's a great head coach for these levels. And we're just we're seeing a lot of success. But even unsung heroes like Zach Canny, who's our weight room guy, man, and the kids love him, and he loves being in the weight room and designing. The things that are happening for us in there, and even just getting these guys around. Number one, we have fun, and I think that's really, really important for a staff to do, is be able to have fun and enjoy what you're doing. But number two, they're talented, and as a head coach, I feel really, really strongly. And I don't know, you've seen some of these guys who leave Bill Belichick, and they might have success and they might not. And I think the ones that have more success don't sit there necessarily and say, oh, I need to bring Bill Belichick with me, or I need to be Bill Belichick, or you have to act a certain way to be on my staff. To me, I want my coaches to grow, and I want them to be talented in certain levels. So I don't just say, hey, don't just come along here, get good at this, do this. For example, like James Deneen is doing our wide receivers, but he's also doing linebackers. So I bring in a Mickey Coretto, who is an absolute guru of linebackers, someone who coached me when I was in school and spent so much time winning with Hornell. And then, he's gonna be with us. James, you go with that dude, because he's gonna teach you everything. And Mick keeps teaching me stuff all the time. So it's there's no you got to do it my way or the highway. It's let's all grow together, and I think that's the best way for a staff to grow. And we teach each other, and I'm really proud of what we have, and I think if we get a shot to get out there, I think we're going to show people.
Graham, now you spent a number of years coaching in the Hornell staff. Mm-hmm. You coached with Gene Maston. Mm-hmm. You've coached with Eric Warner. What philosophies or concepts, if any, are you bringing to Canisteo Greenwood that you learned in Hornell, or what did you learn in Hornell that might help you be successful as a head coach?
Yeah, there's one little small person I left off that coaching staff who's kind of consultant coaching right now, which is Coach Masson. I mean, we're in constant contact with him, and mm-hmm. He's dealing with some personal things with his wife, and I'm sure everyone in the area knows about that. And so mm-hmm. He was with us all summer long. Behind the Legion, and then
and get well to her, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get. I don't want to talk too much about it, because that's family. It's family to us, and mm-hmm. but he's still consulting with us, and he's still supporting us, and we're supporting him. And so what I honestly, if you look at our scheme, it's almost everything. But when I was down here before, when I coached before with Jamie Freeland, our defense was very Hornell-like. Because, again, there's Mickey Coretto, so he was up there, and I knew Mick, and so mm-hmm. I would meet with him, and he would show me the defensive things, the blitzes especially, and the things linebackers did especially. We already did before I'd ever left. So the defense is very similar, obviously, because Kohler came down before me. He already installed the 4-3, so the defense is the same. The offense is, offense is our offense. We're more... a little bit more specific as to who you have. We're not a zone blocking team. We're very specific to who you have. But it's not like these kids, we're not like, oh my gosh, this is a crazy different thing. I mean, what Paul Keeley ran was very sound and excellent. So, but we're bringing the offensive style that we had in, if you want to look at some film, 2009 to 2011, the state championship teams, fullback, power, counter, those things are things that we kind of run. We want to run. We know we're in Class D. We're going to run 95% of the time. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we'll pass a little bit more with the weapons we have, but you got to be able to run.
I was going to say your quarterback is pretty good.
Our quarterback's fantastic, and on the other side of Andrew, I got to tell you, we have a wide receivers core that is, Hunter McCaffrey is mm-hmm. a fantastic athlete. Trevor Mokel is working in, and the X-Man Xavier, he works real hard too. We got great receivers, so we are going to pass a little bit. I want my opponents to find out on game day, but besides that, so the scheming stuff is very Hornell-like, but it's not so different. No one's going to go there and go, oh my gosh, this is some crazy. It's not. But obviously, philosophy-wise, and I've said this, I'll say this until the cows come home, but we got to keep it simple. That's mm-hmm. something Gene Masson always promoted. keep things simple. If teams are complicated that you're going against, your scheme has to be simple. And if teams are very vanilla, then you can get more complicated on them. But he's always in the back of my mind, and I always, if I have a question, I just get a hold of him. And
That's awesome.
And it's been my honor to be in Hornell. For those 12 years, we had fantastic time. But it's also my honor to get back to my hometown and try to bring something. We really, really want to bring a sectional title to this town, and we got a shot this year. We do.
So we're talking with Steve Donlin, head coach, Canisteo Greenwood Redskins varsity football team. Steve, we have a few more minutes left here in the segment. Tell me now, there's this thing called COVID-19 that's wreaked havoc for almost a year now on everybody, but including the schools and athletics. What now? As I had mentioned when we first came on, the season was obviously supposed to be played in the fall, which is always when football's been played. But because of decisions made, they've moved the season to start March 1st. You have 6 weeks. Is that correct? Your season's going to be 6 weeks long. So
about that, yeah.
So it's going to be a little shorter than normal.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the challenges you're facing under the circumstances of, the COVID restrictions and the distancing and the masking and all that? And has it changed the way you've approached any of your coaching and the way you've approached your conditioning and things like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously we have to be masked where we are, and when we're outside, it's a little better than when we're inside. When we lift, we can only have so many kids in the weight room at a time. They have to be masked, but they handle it. Kids are resilient. Mm-hmm. They handle it. They want to be in the weight room, so they do it. They wipe everything down when they're done. I mean, they're great kids. But what we have focused on at Canisteo is we need to go through this process and handle this adversity better than any other team. And if we promise that we're going to meet every week, if we promise we're going to try to get to the weight room, if we're going to get to plays every weekend, if we can handle this better, we can deal with the real problems that do come in, as you're mentioning. So, for example, when we start in August, we do 2-a-days. We get an offensive practice in the morning, we get defensive practice in the afternoon. So we're doing both sides of the ball. We won't be able to do both of those things. So we're going to have to come in and go offense, defense, mix, kind of simulate what a game week would be like more than like a preseason. So that's why right now is important. That's why today at 11 o'clock is so important that we get our offense in and our defense in now so that we can focus on, try to do more conditioning and try to get in shape a little bit more because we can be relaxed because our game plans are in. So if we can handle this better than other teams, week one, right now it's Bolivar Richburg. They got a schedule out there, but I think it may change. But right now it's week one, Bolivar Richburg. Okay, that's a rivalry week. That's a big opponent. But have we done more in the off season? Are we going to be more prepared? I mean, you got to get special teams in. You got to do all these things. We've done special teams. We got to review them now. But when we've done a lot of our special teams already, so that's what we tried to do. Yeah, it's a huge barrier, but handle it, right? I mean, we're teaching young men, and how many times you're going to have to deal with things in your life that are going to be hard, and you're going to have to change what you do. Well, hopefully we can teach them a little something here in football about dealing with that.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had to change our lives and make adjustments, and these things that we're wearing on our face, these masks, are something that a year ago we didn't even think about wearing. And and you are right, kids are resilient. I have 2 teenagers myself, and at first it was a big adjustment for them, but now it's just it's just kind of commonplace. They don't even think twice about it now; they just do it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's great that you have such a good group of guys who coaches and players who just you go with the flow. You've kind of been playing the the hand that was dealt to you, mm-hmm. and you're just going ahead looking for forward to starting the season. And now you'd mentioned Bolivar Richburg is your opening game. Really quick in the next minute, who is the opponent that you feel is going to be maybe the most challenging to you this year? What's the biggest game on your schedule? Is it the Bolivar Richburg?
We have one team in front of us right now. It's Bolivar Richburg.
Okay.
I mean, it's 1 week at a time. Class D is stacked. Mm-hmm. It is.
Yep.
Kalmom's in it. Avon's in it. Alexander's in it. Notre Dame Batavia's in it. But we fear no one. but we only focus on one.
Yeah.
And right now it's Bolivar Richburg. If that changes to someone else, we're going to focus on that.
Awesome. Great attitude. Great concept. We got to go to break, Steve. When we come back, we're actually, you stick around and talk some NFL with us? You're an NFL fan.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to do our NFL, what is this called? Divisional round preview. We've got 4 games on tap this weekend, a couple of big ones. We have, of course, Bills, Ravens, Brady versus Breeze, and a couple others sandwiched in between. So when we come back, we're going to do NFL. Steve's going to stick around, Steve Donlin. We also have Paul Keeley, Paul was the former head coach of Canisteo Greenwood Varsity. You took Paul's spot. So it'd be cool having the former and the current on. And we're also going to try to get Paul Welker on the phone as well. Paul, my usual co-host, is on the road today traveling, but he said call him because he wants to do his NFL picks. And I might add, I was 6-0 last week, Steve, in my picks. 6-0. I got
picked
them
the
all
Browns?
right. I did pick the Browns.
That's nice.
I did. Yep. I just had this hunch, and I didn't realize they were going to dominate the Steelers the way they did. I mean, that was something of beauty if you're a Browns fan. If you're a Steelers fan, man, you got to be really disappointed.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed. Turnovers are a big thing.
Oh,
and,
man. Well, first play of the game.
First play of the game reminded me of the Super Bowl not too long ago. But, yeah, you get those turnovers, they can change everything in a heartbeat. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know that. Yeah, so we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll be talking some NFL. And then in our final segment, we're going to have 2 Hornell High School soccer athletes on our program talking about the season that ended just a little bit ago, and 2 really awesome young kids coming in here into the studio. So we'll be back in just a second here on the Prete Is On.
Are you looking to install a new furnace? Did you wake up to no heat in the house? Would you like a furnace maintenance check and cleaning? Call Mike Palmer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, 607-698-4444. They offer free quotes and have 24-hour emergency services 365 days a year for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Mike Palmer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Route 36, just south of Canisteo. Again, that phone number, 698-4444.
Who hasn't felt protective lately of our families, our communities, our resources? In times like these, we all fight to make sure our people are safe. But at the American Cancer Society, our people, our community, our family is made up of millions of cancer patients and their families. So keeping them safe takes everyone's help. During COVID-19, help us keep vital resources available to cancer patients. Please donate to the American Cancer Society at cancer.org.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-401-6681. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
Looking for a way to get free from debt? Well, gather up your bills and call a Care One credit counselor today. We are credit counseling agencies that have helped 2 million people just like you.
I see people every day who are on the brink. They're going to go over the edge and the bottom is bankruptcy. We pull them back and they appreciate that.
You get to consolidate your payments. You only have to make one payment a month instead of worrying about 3, 4, or 5.
Care One credit counselors have experience assisting people to get out of debt and get on with their lives. To help you take your first step, they're offering a consultation and debt analysis. Call for licensing details.
It is your path out.
People are truly amazed when they call us and see what we can do to help them. I mean, the relief in their voices.
Call us because we can do amazing things.
Get your consultation and debt analysis by calling a Care One credit counselor today. One simple and confidential call can get you debt-free.
800-284-1349. 800-284-1349. 800-284-1349. That's 800-284-1349.
WLEA, AM 1480 and FM 1069.
And welcome back here to the Prete Is On, segment number 2. And Steve Donlin has been kind enough to stick around for this segment after coming on our first one, in case you missed it, talking about some Canisteo Greenwood varsity football. We also have 2 other callers, or 2 other guests that are on our studio line that are going to participate in our NFL discussion. 2 Pauls. And on one line we have my regular co-host who's on the road today, Paul Welker. Paul, how are things going out there on the road?
Nice. It's good to get away for a couple hours, basically, and get home so I can sit in front of the Bills game later tonight.
That's right. Big Bills game tonight, 8:15 kickoff against the Ravens. We'll get to that in a few minutes. The other guest is the former head coach of Canisteo Greenwood Redskins, and he's your predecessor, Paul Keeley. Paul, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me on. Steve, how you doing?
Coach Keeley, I often tell people you owe me a drink for the season you let me inherit, so I want you to know that I'm holding you to it.
All right.
I'm doing good, Paul.
So I want to talk some NFL football. This is a big weekend, especially obviously here locally for Bills fans. We're down to let's call it the Elite 8. We have 4 playoff games this weekend, 2 today, 2 tomorrow. Let's get right down to it. But before we do, I want to gloat a little bit, and this is more for my co-host, Paul Welker. Last week, Paul, myself, and a young lady, Chloe, who comes in here once in a while and helps out with our show, Chloe Van Kessel, we did our picks. There were 6 games. And Paul Welker, I want to let you know I went 6-0 last week. Are you not? Are you?
You did. I can't believe it.
Are you impressed?
I am impressed. I think I was 5-1, so I'm not really. I wouldn't have been losing money if I went to Vegas.
Yeah, somehow, I don't know. I picked the Browns. I was a little reluctant on that one, but man, the way they handled the Steelers, and I don't know if it's because the Browns were just that good or if the Steelers were just that bad or maybe a combination, but man, if I was just saying to Steve before we went to break, if I was a Steelers fan, man, I'd be really disappointed at the way they played last week. And you have to wonder, is Ben Roethlisberger's days numbered?
I think there's a lot of questions like that around the NFL right now, and unfortunately, I don't think we want to talk about that. We have plenty of the offseason to talk about that. Let's talk about your Old Man Bowl and the Bills game.
But yeah, the Brady Breeze, the Old Man Bowl. We'll get to that one last. So let's go chronologically through the 4 games. Today's first game kickoff is, of course, I don't have the time in front of me. I believe 4:30. Thank you. What are they now? The Los Angeles Rams at Lambeau Field at the Green Bay Packers. On paper, you look at it and you're like, oh, geez, they're not going to beat the Packers. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, the Packers' number 1 seed in the NFC. I don't know, man. Obviously, if Jared Goff plays, that's important for the Rams. But that defense that the Rams has, that's, number 1 in the NFL. That is an elite defense with Aaron Donald back there, rushing the quarterback. And I wouldn't just automatically assume the Packers are going to win this game. So let's get into that a little bit. Paul Keeley, let's bring you in. What are your thoughts on this game?
So you look at this game, and it's a matchup of strength versus strengths, right? You mentioned the Rams, number 1 scoring defense. Packers led the league in scoring. And then you look at Aaron Donald. Who's the other guy? Is it Floyd?
Floyd.
Those 2 interior linemen, created some of the most pressure in the NFL this season against a very strong offensive interior line for the Green Bay Packers. And then on the outside, you got Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Adams. So you're really looking at strength versus strength. I think the spread is calling for Green Bay's getting 6.5, or it's minus 6.5. So it's really going to come down to I think the elements. Now, you're talking Green Bay in January. They have grass. It's not field turf. So Los Angeles has been playing on field turf for most of the season, whether they've been home or on the road. That's a tough place to play in January, and the Packers are used to that. So I gotta imagine, if you've been playing and practicing in 7-degree weather all week, and then you fly to Green Bay, and it's the wind chill is 15 below or whatever. I don't know what the game time conditions are going to be, but it's going to be cold up there. The ground's going to be frozen. It's going to be a different type of game. And Dave, you mentioned Jared Goff is he playing with one? He's playing with a thumb that's injured. I mean, he was dressed last week, but he didn't start. So I mean, there's a lot of just interesting, storylines for this game. I think it's going to be one of the best games this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think all 4 games, but I do think this is going to be a better game, I think, than people are expecting it to be. So let's do our picks, and we're not going to pick with or against points. We're just going to do straight up. Steve Donlin, who are you taking in this game? You got the Rams, Packers. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I think I'll take the Packers, but I think it's going to be close. Mm-hmm. In his old age here, I think Aaron Rodgers is getting a little cry. He is. He's a little bit of a baby right now. And if you saw him against the Buccaneers, they handled him.
Oh, yeah. I watched that game, obviously, being a Bucs fan.
And he got a little whiny, and he couldn't get it done. If that line does what they can do, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And I just don't think Goff's got enough. I don't think Goff is good enough right now to do it. So I think Green Bay's going to win, but it'll be closer than you think.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers, too, and I agree. I think it's going to be lower scoring than what the Packers are used to putting up. I do think that they'll win because, it's Aaron Rodgers versus Goff, but I think Rodgers is going to struggle. I wouldn't be surprised if you are looking at the spread, if the Rams cover that spread and it's a 3 to 6 point game. Paul Walker, who you got?
Yeah, I think I have to go with the Packers as well. If the Rams had a healthy Goff and a healthy Akers, who knows how healthy he is as well, I would be maybe looking at an upset. But I think the Packers, the big matchup is going to be Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey for sure in that game, and something to watch in that game for sure.
Okay, Paul Keeley.
And I think we're going to make it an even sweep here. I'm also going with the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, I love Josh Allen, but I think Aaron Rodgers is the MVP this year, and I think tonight he proves it. So.
Okay, so all 4 of us take the Packers. Now, tonight's game, 8:15 kickoff, Orchard Park, let's call them hometown Buffalo Bills, hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Big game. And, I got to tell you, of all the teams that, before the start of last weekend, that the Bills probably didn't want to play the most, I would say it would be the Baltimore Ravens. They're very evenly matched, both on offense and defense. In fact, if you look at it, if you want to break down position by position or unit by unit, I almost think the Ravens might have a little bit of an advantage in overall. And I think it's going to be a tough game for the Bills. I know the fans are excited about it, as you should be. This is the second home playoff game in 2 weeks. I don't know. There's just so many moving parts in this game. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, very similar in their styles. They both can get it done, with their feet through the air. Both have kind of that bend but don't break defense. I think, if you look at running game, in my opinion, you got to give the advantage to the Ravens. Passing game is maybe, with Stephon Diggs, you give it to the Bills. So I don't know. This is a really, really evenly matched game. Paul Welker, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree that it's an interesting matchup. I think the ability of the Bills to pass in the deep pass, which they have basically reinvented this year for themselves, because that was always a criticism over the last couple of years of the Bills, is huge. How healthy Cole Beasley is for this game is huge. And then if they get anything out of any running back, with Zach Moss getting hurt last week, what do the Bills do with that? I think scoring early for the Bills and getting off to a good start, maybe losing or winning the coin toss, getting a stop and getting the ball and scoring will be huge to start the game for the confidence of the Bills, for sure. Definitely going to take the Bills. I was kiddingly going to say Bills by 100, but, I think the Bills win a hard-fought game, and I think they get up enough early and then have to hold on because Jackson is a heck of a quarterback, and the Bills' defense is going to have to make some mistakes.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson got off to a slow start this year, but boy, he turned it on last weekend. His first postseason win as a NFL quarterback. So,
you got to remember that they were down 10-0, and the Titans couldn't get anything more.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans' offense did nothing for them, because the one touchdown and that 10-0 was a pick six. So if the Bills can get going early, the more time you give confidence for the Ravens and the Ravens offense, it will be big for the Bills.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it's going to be a very close game. I'll do my pick last. Steve, who do you have in this one?
Well, I guess what Bills defense shows up today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it the Bills defense that gave up 2 touchdowns in 5 minutes last week against the Colts? Because that was, they could have beaten the Bills they could have beaten the Colts by 21 points, but they didn't because that defense let down. So it all comes down to that defense. You got 2 great offenses. You know the Ravens defense is going to be fantastic. Is the Bills defense going to be good? And if they are, I pick the Bills. If they're not, obviously I'd pick the Ravens. But if you put me on the spot right now,
which we're doing,
I think the Bills can win.
Okay.
Again, that's going to be tight. I think that they can win, but it'll all come down to that defense.
Okay. Paul Keeley, I know you're a Bills fan. What's your take on this one?
I am. And, this is the reason they hired Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott to get to this moment. This is playoff football at its best. These are the games you want to play in as a coach, as a player. We've been waiting a long time for a moment like this, so he's going to have that locker room jacked up, ready to play football. It is going to be a close game, I believe, but he's going to have that team ready, inspired, and I think what Steve said is right. Which defense shows up is going to be important, but there's no way they're not going to be ready to play this game, so I got Buffalo by a field goal.
Okay. So I always tell my kids, my role in life sometimes isn't to be your best friend, it's to be the heel, and sometimes you got to, not do the popular thing. So listen, there's going to be an upset this weekend. I just, I don't think all 4 of the favorite teams are going to win. Maybe I'm wrong here, Bills fans. I know you're not going to like this very much, but I think it's going to be a close game. But I'm going with the Ravens. I think with Mark Andrews at tight end, the Bills have a tough time defending tight end position. They've struggled against the run, and J.K. Dobbins has had 5 straight games with 100 yards rushing. And in 4 of those 5 games, he's had a rushing touchdown. I'm going to say the Ravens by a field goal. I don't say that very confidently, but like I said, there's going to be an upset, and I think this is going to be the one. So we got about 3 minutes left. Let's move along to the Sunday games. Sunday afternoon, Browns, Chiefs. Of course, Chiefs with the number 1 seed. They're hosting this game. Again, one of these games on paper, you look at it and you're like, geez, the Chiefs are going to, beat them by 3 touchdowns. And that may be the case, but the Chiefs defense has had some holes in it this year. And the Browns can run the ball. Baker Mayfield had a good game last week throwing the ball. I'm going with the Chiefs, but I also think that this is going to be a lot better game than people are anticipating. How about you, Steve?
I'm going to go with my linebacker coach, Mickey Corretto. The Browns are going to upset the Chiefs.
Ooh, so that's the upset you're picking then.
That's the upset I'm picking.
All right. Hey, it could happen. And for Browns fans who've been waiting a long time for this team to go deep into the playoffs, I hope that does happen. I just, Patrick Mahomes, he's hard to contain. So we'll see how that defense tries to contain Patrick Mahomes. Paul Keeley, how about you?
Andy Reid off a bye, extra week to prepare. I think it'll be a lot closer than the spread is. I think it might come down to a field goal as well, or one possession. But I got Kansas City.
Okay. All right. So we got 2 Kansas City, 1 Cleveland. How about you, Paul Walker?
I'm going to go with the Browns, too, because I think the Browns-Bills AFC Championship game would be awesome. Unbelievable for two fan bases that would be going crazy for it. And I think the Browns are, I've picked against them all year, so maybe I'll go for them this week.
All right. So 2-2. That's interesting. I really thought that would be a sweep. So the game that I really don't want to talk about, being a Buccaneers fan, because
you already predicted your upset, so you must be predicting that.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, all right. I'll start this one. Being a Bucs fan, I've got to, kind of like the Bills not wanting to get that matchup with the Ravens. This was the matchup as a Bucs fan that I wanted to see the least. The Saints they owned us this year, beat us in week 1, and then by I think it was 11 points, beat us 38-3 on a Monday night. Part of me says Tom Brady is not going to, allow a team to beat him 3 times in a season, and it's really not Brady in the offense that I'm worried about, because the offense is clicking right now. I mean, anybody, if you haven't watched the Bucs play, they're putting up 30-plus points a game the last 5 games. It's their defense. They're not putting any pressure on the quarterback. When you allow Drew Brees to sit back in the pocket, he's going to pick you apart. And their secondary right now, I mean, they couldn't cover an offensive lineman if he went out for a pass. That's how bad their secondary has been. That worries me. I hate to do it because, obviously being a Bucs fan, I want to see a Bucs-Bills Super Bowl. I got to go with the Saints. I'm going with the Saints by a touchdown. It kills me to say that, but I just don't see it going any other way. Paul Walker, how about you?
I'm going to go with the Bucs.
Oh, man.
I think tough to beat Brady in any time in January. And I was not impressed at all with the Saints last week versus the Bears. The Bears the guy doesn't drop the ball in the end zone. In that first half, even though I was watching the game on the Nickelodeon Kids Cast.
Of course you were.
And I was not necessarily impressed at all with the Saints and how they looked. So I'm going to go with your Bucs.
All right. I like it, Paul, and I hope you're right, but I'm not very confident. Paul Keeley, how about you?
I'm also with Paul. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in the season, and he was right on. I mean, the Saints looked very pedestrian last week versus not a good Bears team. That game was in question until about 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So I'm with Paul. I think the Bucs are going to beat the Saints.
I'm being a fan of a team that hasn't gotten this far in 13 years. Maybe it's hard for me to see the other side of it. But how about you, Steve? Where are you at with this?
Well, I'm a Giants fan, and I thought if the Giants got in the playoffs and played the Bucs, they would have beat the Bucs. So
the Bucs made Taylor Heineke essentially a 4th-string quarterback look like Joe Theismann last week. So that's what scares me.
No, the Saints are too good. They have too much talent. You're right. I mean, they did not look good last week for sure. And at times this season they have not looked as good as they should have. But right now, I just think you mentioned it. The defense of the Buccaneers is not very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not. They're not putting any. And they
if I had to put money on it, I'd put it on the Saints. But
okay,
for your sake, I hope they win. I don't care. Hey, go ahead. I'm not a Bills fan, but jeepers, it makes a lot of people around here happy. So I hope they win. You know, it makes people happy. So
Brady versus the Bills in the Super Bowl. Could you imagine that?
Go team.
All the what do you call it? The hype around that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think both of them are going to lose this weekend. But hey, if I'm wrong, good. I hope I am wrong. I hope I am. All right, so that's been our NFL segment this week. We have one segment left. We have a couple of youngsters who play for the Hornell High School soccer program coming in our final segment. I do want to thank Paul Keeley, Paul Welker, and Steve Donlin for coming in, doing the picks, and we'll see how it goes. But first game is later this afternoon, 4:30, Rams-Packers. So for those of you looking to watch some NFL, make sure you tune in. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. And thanks again, guys, for coming on.
Thanks, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking to install a new furnace? Did you wake up to no heat in the house? Would you like a furnace maintenance check and cleaning? Call Mike Palmer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, 607-698-4444. They offer free quotes and have 24-hour emergency services 365 days a year for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Mike Palmer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Route 36, just south of Canisteo. Again, that phone number, 698-4444.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The forecast is brought to you by Updike's Willow Ridge, an adult home for the elderly and mildly disabled. They host a beauty salon and barber services, plus an indoor therapeutic whirlpool bath and 4 full shower rooms. Call to arrange a tour, 607-324-5417, or visit their website, updikeswillowridge.com.
Plenty of clouds across the region today, maybe a snow shower or two this morning. High temperatures will get up into the middle 30s. Mostly cloudy tonight, chance for a snow shower overnight, low in the upper 20s. Skies remain mostly cloudy on Sunday with some more snow showers possible, high in the middle 30s. Snow showers likely Sunday night, lows will drop to the middle 20s. And cloudy with more snow showers on Monday, high in the lower 30s. I'm staff meteorologist Scott Kaplan.
WLEA, AM 1480 and FM 1069.
And welcome back to the Prete Is On, our final segment here on Saturday morning. And once again, thanks to Coach Steve Donlin for coming in the studio and sticking around doing some NFL picks with us. Thanks to Paul Keeley and Paul Welker as well. We'll see how our NFL predictions go after the games this weekend. I do want to thank sponsor of today's show, Mike Palmer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Are you looking to install a new furnace? Did you wake up to no heat in the house? That actually happened to me a couple weeks ago, and I did call Mike, and he came and fixed it. Would you like a furnace maintenance check and cleaning? Call Mike Palmer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning at 607-698-4444. They do offer free quotes and have 24-hour emergency services, so thanks to Mike Palmer for sponsoring today's show. So in studio, I have here in our final segment 2 of the members of the Hornell High School boys and girls varsity soccer program. I want to welcome Jane Spatunik, Nick Oyer to the show. Guys, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Jane, can you move a little? There you go. Okay. Make sure I hear you guys. So Hornell High School soccer program has been, very successful over the years. You guys both had the opportunity this past year to play in sectionals.
Yes.
So let's start. I always say ladies first. So let's start with you, Jane. Your team was 11-3-1 in the regular season. You outscored your opponents in sectionals 10-1. Now, where did you guys end up in sectionals? Did you win sectionals?
Yes, we won sectionals.
Okay, you did win sectionals. That's awesome. Tell me about your experience and what it was like, because it was a shortened season, correct?
Yeah, it was like at one point we had 3 games a week. So it was pretty It was pretty tiring, but the chance that we got to play was still awesome.
That's awesome. Now you're a junior?
Yes, I'm a
junior. So you got one more year left. Yes. Tell me, has there been what's the experience been like? Has it been a huge change in the way we've had to do things with COVID and between practice, playing, and I know both of you guys, you all had to mask up on the field this year.
We had to wear masks, so it was pretty hard. We had to condition with them, so we had to condition with them every single day in practice. So that was pretty tough, and then we still had to play with them.
Okay. All right, Nick, boys varsity team, 4-5-1, played for the sectional semifinal versus Wayne.
Yep.
Did you guys win that game?
We lost to them. Yeah, they had a lot of seniors. They were a really good team.
Okay.
We had a pretty young team this year, so I think for most of the season we're just trying to get ready for hopefully next year where we can be a lot better. So.
Good things to come then.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we lost 5 seniors this past year, and they're all great guys. They really helped to help the younger kids get a lot better this year. So we're all excited for next year.
Now, Jonas, Scotty, and yourself were Livingston County First Team All-Stars and honorable mentions for the all Greater Rochester team.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a great accomplishment.
Yes, thank you.
Tell me, and I guess this question could go to both of you guys. What is the most important, aspect of team sports for you guys? I mean, I know, this is a great individual accomplishment that both you and Jonas had. But as a team, tell me just that camaraderie that you build, and do you guys do a lot of stuff off the field? Do you hang out, practice, in the off season, stay in shape and condition? What's your regimen after the season ends?
Yeah, absolutely. So with COVID this year, it's been kind of hard to get together off the field, but the camaraderie when we're there at practice and we're at games is always great. Having the other guys to lean on, help each other out. And I think that's the best part about team sports. This year for off-season things, it's difficult because of COVID. I know we're going to try to get into the sports garden up in Rochester and play a little bit there, but with everything going on, we don't really know what the off-season this year looks like. Usually we would be getting into A gym, B gym every weekend and practicing, and of course all of us play other sports, so that's how we kind of stay in shape, but we can't really practice yet since the school is, we're having difficulty with COVID, and the state doesn't want us to do it. So,
and I know because my boys, who are one of them at least, one of them used to play soccer. Now one of them still does, plays for Canisteo Greenwood, the modified program, plays in different programs all throughout the year. There's the indoor program, there's the spring program, there's a summer program. I don't know. I know that the indoor program was canceled for this year, so that's taking away, the opportunity to keep going throughout the year. Jane, what are you doing? Are you doing anything after the season? Do you play another sport?
I play basketball, so.
Okay.
But
and that season's been put on hold.
Put on hold.
Okay.
So it's been really hard, but we've been going in, doing open gyms, following COVID rules, of course, and just getting back to the basics. It's kind of helped a lot.
Okay. Nick, what other sport do you play?
I play baseball, yeah. So this spring they're allowing dual participation for sports. So if you played soccer in the fall, you're also allowed to play football. So I'm going to be looking to doing that this spring as well.
Okay. So you're doing football in the spring instead of baseball.
No. So the shortened seasons, they're allowing football and baseball to run separately. So football will end and then baseball will immediately start up. So.
That's really cool, and I'm glad that they're doing that, because that was one of the concerns I had when I did this show earlier, back at towards the end of the summer, when they announced that some of the fall sports were going to be moved to the spring. That was my concern: is what if you play football and you play baseball? How are you going to be able to do both? I mean, you could be like Bo Jackson and do it all at the same time, but
right, yeah.
It'd be kind of hard. So that's awesome. Now, what is it like? Your season goes like 2 months.
Yeah, basketball season's a long season.
I was going to say basketball is a good example, and probably 3 months by the time you practice and then actually start playing your games and going to the postseason.
Yeah.
What's it like been trying to cram everything into a 6-week season essentially?
We haven't even gotten the go for a 6-week season yet, so we've been waiting for the go, and I think something got sent in the other day to Cuomo, but
yeah, and it's got to be frustrating, not only for you guys as students, I know for myself as a parent, to not be able to go to certain games and, watch my kids play. I mean, it's not the end of the world. A lot of the schools are streaming the games online, which is a good alternative. But it's
you
just
want to be there in person.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I'm sure you want your parents there. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Can you tell when your parents are at the game?
Yeah.
Oh,
for
my
sure.
gosh, yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
My mom, and I love her, and if you're listening, Mom, I mean this with all my love. But when I played sports in high school and in college, I knew my mom was there. She was the loudest one in the stands. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I look back and I'm like, oh man, my mom was my greatest supporter. So
of course, yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for you guys now? Nick, you're a junior or senior?
Junior.
Okay. Are you guys looking at colleges?
Yes. Yeah.
You know what careers you want to go into? So tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, so I've been talking with our AD quite a bit about playing baseball in college, wherever that may be. And I've looked at a few colleges here and there. My brother is he's in college now, so I visited all the colleges when he did. But I want to look to go into the medical field. So I'd like to go into medical school afterwards, after I get my bachelor's. So
good for you. So that you know how long that takes, right? The process.
Oh yeah, it's a long time. But
I used to work in the medical field. Yeah, 10, 12 years. But you know what? If you can make it through, man, you'll have a nice career set up for you the rest of your life.
Yeah, there's certainly a need for it right now too. So that's
absolutely
that's a nice benefit.
Yeah, good. That's awesome. Well, good luck to you.
Yes, thank you.
Great aspirations. How about you, Jane?
I'd like to go into the business.
Okay.
And I've looked at colleges. I haven't gone, but I plan on going to it. If we don't have a sports season, it's kind of the perfect time to go.
Yeah, the best experience, if I was to give you any advice, okay, is to go check out the schools that you're looking at. Make sure you get that tour, that experience, so you see what it's like. And it's really important because, that's where you're going to be spending 4 to, well, in your case, Nick, 4 to 10 or 12 years of your life. So,
that's right.
So no, that's awesome. And it's, good to hear, some young student athletes like yourself really looking towards your future and trying to put yourself in a good situation, when you graduate. So, I want to thank you both for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'll have you on again, maybe after your spring seasons and see how things are going with you.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Have a great Saturday. And thank you to everyone for listening today. We will be back next Saturday, same time, same place. And the Prete Is On. I do want to thank all of our frontline workers, our healthcare providers, our law enforcement, first responders, and military for making our world a safe and healthy place. And we will talk to you all next Saturday.
Install a new furnace? Did you wake up to no heat in the house? Would you like a furnace maintenance check and cleaning? Call Mike Palmer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, 607-698-4444. They offer free quotes and have 24-hour emergency services 365 days a year for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Mike Palmer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Route 36, just south of Canastillo. Again, that phone number, 698-4444.